I call that graduation anxiety, because it's like, you get your degree and then the next day you're like, oh, or maybe the next week, I don't know, you're like, oh, what's next. And I'll be real, it was scary for me at first. Like, it took me about, I don't know, 6 months to kind of just get out of that like anxious feeling and finally just be like, okay, here we are, here's what we're doing, and let's do it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Junior Mints Podcast. This is episode 96. I am your host, Finn Lawler, and today I will be discussing life after college, if you've gone to college. So, I know I sort of talked about this a few episodes ago in the early stages of this show, and that episode was about me getting my like media arts degree and stuff like that. So I'm gonna broaden that a little bit and just discuss real quick what life so far for me, what it's like after being out of school for almost a year. Or I guess by the time this episode comes out, it would have been a year by now. But enough of that. Let's get into it. So, let's be real. Life after college can be very scary at first. I remember it was a month, I think, before I even got my degree. I was stressing and like being anxious and stuff like that. I was like, this is scary and blah, 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 and all these other feelings. I call that graduation anxiety, because it's like, you get your degree and then the next day you're like, oh, or maybe the next week, I don't know, you're like, oh, what's next. And I'll be real, it was scary for me at first. Like, it took me about, I don't know, 6 months to kind of just get out of that like anxious feeling and finally just be like, okay, here we are, here's what we're doing, and let's do it. Let's send it. Full sends only, right? So life after college, as like to support my previous point, life after college can be very overwhelming because you're given this freedom. I don't know how to explain it, but I'll do the best I can to explain it. You're given this freedom that it's like, oh, well, I have the choice to do this, but I also can do these other things, and there's like an abundance of things I can do. So to me, it's very overwhelming because I'm not really sure. Like, there were points in my life at that point, and there are still points to this day, and there will always be places where I'm not really sure like what I'm really supposed to do. But think about this though, life is supposed to be a journey, not a destination. So it's okay to not have everything figured out. That's perfectly normal. So the fun part actually of being out of school is you can shape your life after college however the heck you want. It's yours. It's your life, not mine. Your life is not mine. My life is mine. Your life is yours. You can shape it however the heck you want. And the second that I came to this realization, I was like, whoa. It's scary, but that's awesome. And I'm sure there are people out there who have it more figured out than I do. Whatever. It's like customizing a character on a video game. Like, you can adjust things and all that good stuff. That's a metaphor, realistically, about just your life in general. So I think that's one of the best parts. And if you're watching this and you haven't, graduated yet, but you're about to, trust me, You'll be fine. It's fun. It's so fun. It's somewhat difficult here and there, but it's great though, in a way. The more you think about it, there's just so much possibility, and it's awesome. So, kind of dipping into a different lane here for a second. You don't have to live up to anyone's standards except your own. And, if you're somewhat of a like a Christian or something, then big man upstairs. But anyway, by anyone's standards, I just mean, like, if you know someone and that person is suggesting that you do a certain thing, you don't have to live up to that person. You don't have to follow that person's standards. Like, I'm sure they're just basically suggestions, which is one thing. So you do you. You know what I'm saying? You do you. So, another thing. Society's standards are complete bullshit. Pardon my French, but it's terrible. Bullcrap. Bullshit, Follow your gut and trust your intuition. Like, society standards will be like, oh, well, you graduated, which means you have to have a job right out of college, and I'm like, that's dumb. Like, sure, if you're trying to get a job after college, sure, whatever, go for it. But if you're just trying to just live your freaking life, dude, that's cool too. And I'll say this. It's okay to be unemployed after graduating. I was for a little while. But yeah, it's okay. Like, no one is judging you for not having a job right out of college. Give yourself, if you've worked your ass off in college, give yourself a few months, maybe, to kind of just find your way, Yeah, you got this. Whoever's watching this and listening to this, you got this. I believe in you. So, at that point, during that period of time when you're, like, being unemployed and, like, trying different things, there, I just said it, try new things. Maybe get an internship in the area of your interest. I did. And, but, everyone's journeys are way different. No one's journey is the same. And that's awesome to me. That's great. And one last final point before I sign off here. You have plenty of time. Let me reiterate that. You have plenty of time to try things out and explore interests. Boom. And with that, this has been the Junior Mints Podcast, episode 96. I have been your host, Finn Lawler. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like, subscribe down below, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.